So hello guys, this is the first typesetting tutorial that I am making, and in this tutorial we are basically going to talk about the toolbar and the toolbars menu, or the options that each tool provide. So in the first part of this tutorial, that is this one, we're only going to talk about this two and not anything more, because it will exceed the time that I want to have, which is about 20 minutes. I don't want to make any videos exceeding 20 minutes of duration, because it will get quite lengthy and you will get bored. So let's get started. The first, I'll familiarize you with the layers tab. It is simple, it will be small. So alright, so this is so alright, so there are two layers in this Photoshop file, which is a background and the background copy. So this background copy is actually the redraw layer that I have put above, and this is the original one. Alright, original. Right, so the naming sense is all good now. I'll lock the original one. Alright, now as you can see, I am disabling the invisibility, and you can see the text appearing. Alright, so this is the redrawn, or we can say cleaned ones, and this one is the original. So the first thing will be, we will log the originals and keep the redrawn or cleaned file over. And the advantage of it is we can anytime reference the actual layer of the text. I mean the actual text. So as to typeset properly. Alright, I mean it with this we can try to give it the actual professional look or the originality it has. And more thing, it can actually help us with the text. When there are a lot of text on the page, it can help us a lot. Like when we decrease the layer opacity, we can see the text appearing right like this. So it will help us. So this is all for the layer tab, and if there is anything more necessary, I will tell you about the layer tab, layer and channels and paths in the later videos. Alright, so let's get started. So the first tool is the move tool. You might already know the move tool is used to move the layers in the Photoshop file. Alright, so let's just start with creating a simple text. I'm using a text tool. Alright, so I'm not telling anything about the text tool right now. I'll first tell you about the move tool, then go to the text tool. So alright, this is the default text that it has put. Right, now I won't bother about the actual typesetting quality right now. This is just for the giving the examples. Alright, so this is the move tool. With this move tool we can move the text around the image, and we usually use this to place the text properly inside the bubble. Now there are many more options in the text tool, which is the auto select, the show transform. Right, this will basically use these two for it. So the auto select tool is, it actually help us to select the layers automatically. So suppose if I disable the auto select, when I click this, it will keep selecting the layer tab, so I can't. Alright, so whenever I move, I click and hold and try to move the object, the selected layer will move. I mean this selected layer which is here selected. And if I click the auto select and the move tool, and when I click outside the bounding area of this text, I'll select that layer. So here I have selected the redraw layer and not the original layer. Right now not the original layer, because this redraw layer has spanned over the whole original layer. Alright, so if I disable this, disable the invisibility, which will make the span 0, I can actually select the original layer here. Alright, but right now I can't select because it is locked. When I unlock this, I can select it like this, but I will lock it so I don't actually mess with the original layer. So I've selected the main layer, which is the text layer, and with the auto select there is also an option of group selection, which is helpful when we are selecting a folder of text, or when the text are like merged over each other. But let's not bother with it right now, we'll cover it in the later video. Now this next is show transform. This show transform is crucial for our typesetting because, alright, so let me just, because well, it will actually help us to change the dimension of the text bubbles or the text bounding areas. And another advantage it provides is it actually shows us the bounding box of the text selected. So if I disable the show transform controls, the box will disappear like this. Right, so it is crucial to have it turned on all the time. Alright, so this is all for the move tool. Oh, alright, so I will tell more about the move tool in the later videos. I mean the next video, because in next video or much later video. So now the text tool. So basically the text tool has two options, the horizontal text and the vertical text. We basically use the horizontal text to put things like this, right, and the vertical text put the text like this in the vertical way. So we won't actually deal with the vertical text because it is very bad when typesetting and we very rarely use it. So we'll just deal with the horizontal text tool. And yeah, if to change the options here, you actually have to hover over the icon and right click, then you can select whatever tool you want. Now we are using the horizontal text tool. Right, so this also tells the horizontal text tool here in the tool menu bar, and then this is the changing, this button is used to change orientation. So I'll use the move tool to select this text automatically. Alright, now why I all told to keep the auto select on is because now suppose I have this text selected and I don't want to go here to select the next stage, the next layer, right? Every time I have to go to this layer tab to select each layer to make some edits. Alright, so in spite of doing that, we can use the auto select tool. So with this auto select tool, I'll just click on the layer and it will select the layer. Then I can use whatever tools I want with this. For right now I'm going to use the text tool. Right, so text tool, and now I want to change the orientation of this one easily, for which I'll use the change toggle text orientation in the toolbar of the type tool. So this is the layer selected here, this one, and I'll use the type tool, and when I click this it will change it to the horizontal one. But yeah, it also matters that the bounding box also matters, and I'll tell you how to create bounding boxes when using the type tool later, because it might kinda get hard to create the bounding box on the first go, or you can easily create it. Alright, so let's not bother with it right now. I'll just familiarize you with the tools right now. So I'll change the orientation to the original one, which is the horizontal. Now the next is the font tab. This is very important because when typesetting you are going to use a lot of fonts for making your whatever typesetting better, I mean, and to give it more quality, right? So to change the font, yeah, there's a note. Note this thing that if you have selected a layer and you try to change the font, it will actually change the font of the whole layer, I mean the text layer. Alright, so to change the font of the next typing, what you actually have to do is take the typing tool, write something, then and select whatever you want to change. You can select by simply left clicking, holding the left click and dragging over the text. Alright, and you can also use the control A to select all and then change the font like this. One more thing you can do is take any text here, delete it. Alright, I'm using the Photoshop 2023, I guess, which by default puts a text. You might not get this text on your Photoshop version, or might get. Alright, so I have deleted the text right now, and when I try to change the font, I can easily change the font and even type, and the previous one will not get changed because the typing layer is only selected one. So the next is this one. I don't know what it is called, but it is basically a subcategory of a font. Alright, so I'll change it to the font which has subcategory. This font is Oswald. Alright, so this is a regular text here. The subcategory is regular text, and I can, according to what the subcategory font provides, I can change it. So I can change it to extra light like this category and make it bolder. Right, so this is all about it. And one more thing, this subcategory is actually good. I mean, we typesetter usually use it a lot when making the text bolder or italics. We use it instead of making the italics from the Photoshop itself, like this, which is called Fox Bold or Fox Italics. What this subcategory is, because the creator provides us with the higher quality fonts, and we usually don't see any difference in the fonts that they provide and the Fox Bold or Fox Italics, but these can actually give us more control over the text, or we can say that we can customize the font to whatever we want in the higher quality, and we are not just limited to the Fox Bold and Fox Italics. I don't have any font through which I can demonstrate it, but yeah, it can do it. And the next is the text size. You can change the text size by selecting the text and just changing the size, and usually all of this acts usually to change any of the parameters of the text we have to select the text, right? Okay, so the next is the aliasing of the text. I don't know what the actual word is what it is, but or I am saying the game term, which is anti-aliasing or whatever it is called. Right, so what it basically does is it makes the text smoother on lower pixel or the higher pixel one. So here you can see when I zoom it out, it looks very smooth and matches with the outer surface. Alright, so if I change this to none, you can see that it is kind of pixelated and it is very sharp. I mean, the transition between the text and the image is very sharp here. And if I change it to anyone like sharp or strong, the transition is smooth. As you can see here, the black text, then a gray, then a darker gray, then a lighter gray, then a white or the text or the background text. Alright, And one thing you should note that you don't have to select the text to change it. You can just simply change it like this: smooth, sharp, crisp, strong, whatever. And you can even use the text, and you can even select the text from the layer tab and change it. Right, so the next, so this is it for this, whatever this is called. Now the next is text or alignment. We typesetter usually align the text in the center alignment because it makes our work easier. If I make it right aligned, it will look bad. Well, this is not a good example. I'll tell you here. Right, so let's say this is the text I have put in this bubble. Right, this is not typesetted very good, but whatever. Alright, so this seems a bit good. Alright, so this is for it, and this is center aligned, so it looks good. But if I make it like this, it actually makes it bad. Right, it actually looks bad when I make it the left aligned, and same for the right aligned. But when I make it centrally aligned, it looks good. Well, what some typesetters usually also do is they usually use the left align and then align the text according to them like this. Right, align them manually. This is all a laborer's work, and you usually would not want to do this, so we can just use it like this. Alright, so this is just for example. I'm doing the laborer's job to show you guys. I'll just, alright, like this. It does not look good. Well, in some situation it might actually look good, but right now it does not look good because the text spacing in the left side and the right side is not equal, so it looks kind of bad. But right, well, I made a lot of edits, so even if I now make it centrally aligned, things might not change because right now that there's also the space whatever, the space character that is in the text box. Right, in this string there's also text, the space character which is also selected. Alright, so I'll just change it to this. Right, yeah, this is the, I'll just tell you, this is the history tab, and we can actually change to whatever we want here. We can go in the past to go where we had not made the changes. Alright, sorry for the stutterings, and I actually keep forgetting things, and right now I'm not very focused, so I'm forgetting what I should say, and even forgetting the work of the tabs that I'm telling. Right, so I've told you up to the text alignment. Now the text color. So same for this, you'll actually have to select the text that you want to change color of, then change it. It works the same as all of this, the fonts and the font categorization, the text size. Alright, this is same as them, and yeah, it will actually change the color of the text like this for the selected layer, so keep that in mind whenever changing the color. Now the next is the text warping like this. It is easy. You actually have to select the text layer for warping the text. And the next is the paragraph and character, which I'll tell you in the later parts of the tutorial. And the next thing is the cross mark and the right mark. So to actually save the text, you'll have to click on the right mark to save it, like this. If, like, let's make any changes. Alright, so here I made this text blue. Alright, and now if I click on the cancel button, the changes will not be saved. But if I click the, let's make the changes. If I click the right button, the changes will be saved like this. But you'll actually have to save the PSD files to this. Does not save the PSD file, it just saves the change in the text layer. Alright, so this is it for this video. I'll tell you more about the next thing, the next steps, which is the history, the action step, which we might use in the later parts, or the advanced or intermediate typesetting guide. Right, and the layers, the layers tab. Well, you won't talk about the channels and the paths. Right, we will only talk about the layer part and character, paragraph, glyphs. And there's one more thing. There's a tool which we'll talk about later, which is called Typer tool. It's actually a helping tool for typesetters, and it might actually increase your productivity. Alright, and yeah, so if you're going to try using the text tool, one thing you should note that is that you'll actually have to select the background layer to put any text. Alright, so here I select the read dot layer, in the line put any text, then click right. And similar, if I select the text layer and try to make changes, well, it actually happens, but it shouldn't, because sometimes it actually sees it as making a change on the text layer where the text isn't. Like, let's say the move, I have to select the move tool, and this is the text area. If I make any changes outside this text area, it should give an error. Well, it isn't, but it should, or they might have changed it. Alright, so here, this is all about this video. I'll tell you the shortcuts that I use and various tricks to speed up your productivity.